One of the most common questions I get as a candle business owner is how somebody as a beginner can start on their candle making journey. So in the next few minutes, I'm gonna give you a basic breakdown of how you can get started on your candle making journey, whether you're thinking about making candles as a hobby or opening your own small business. If you want more information on candle making in general, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned when I release new videos like this. So let's get to it. One of the first things that you're gonna need to purchase is gonna be your candle jar. The size of jar that you select is going to be based on your own personal preference, but there are several different types of jars out there, whether you're looking for tins, glass jars, or something to make some unique candles. What I would recommend when you're selecting a jar for your candles is for you to choose something that is very thick and wouldn't break when it's exposed to heat. This is going to be a serious concern when it comes to your customers or whoever you're making the candles for. If you want more information on the type of candle jars that exist out there, I have a video that I will link for you below that specifically touches on the topic on what to look for when you're selecting your candle jars. Once you do have that selected, next thing is going to be your candle wick that you will be inserting into your candle jar. Again, there are several different types of wicks out there along with different sizes as well. So you're going to have to experiment a lot as a candle maker to find out which one works best for the type of wax that you have along with the size of jar that you also have. I also have a video that touches on the topic, which I will link for you below. But commonly, you're going to have to do a lot of testing when it comes to your candle wicks. This is the part that is the most frustrating when it comes to candle making because each and every wick acts very differently in each and every single wax, along with each and every single thing that you change when you're making your candles. With that said, you're going to have to center your wick in your candle jar, whether you're using 1, 2, or multiple wicks. There are wick centering tools that you can use for this process. Personally, I've never used any one of them just because I feel like I have a very good idea of where my wicks should be. If you are unsure, then you should definitely get yourself some wick centering tools. And for those wicks to stay centered in your candle jar, you're going to have to use some type of thing to secure it to the bottom of the jar. What we candle makers use are wick stickers, wick tabs, or even high heat resistant glue. Any of those techniques will work, but the main thing will be for you to make sure that the wick is centered and secured at the bottom of the candle jar so that it doesn't mess up the whole process when you're pouring your wax into your candle jar. This leads me to the next step, which is going to be melting your candle wax. There are several different types of waxes out there, from soy, paraffin, coconut, and some blends as well that incorporate several waxes in one. For you to choose a specific candle wax, you're going to have to do some experiment and some research to see what your budget is, along with what exactly you're looking to make as a candle maker. When you do have that wax selected, you're going to have to follow different temperatures for you to melt your wax at, pour your fragrance in, and pour your wax into your container. And I know this is a question that I get a lot as well about the pouring and the melting temperature and all of that. What I would basically say to anybody who have different waxes from what I personally use would be for you to follow the temperature that is recommended from the company you purchase your wax from. This is because each and every single wax acts very differently when it comes to their temperatures. I also have a video that touches on the different types of waxes out there and their different temperatures that they require for you to melt them at. All of that information will be linked for you below as well. For you to melt your candle wax, there are different methods that you can use. Most people just start with the double boiler method. This is basically you pouring water into a deep pot. In that pot, you're gonna add a pitcher or a Pyrex that's gonna hold your wax. Then you'll add that to your stovetop or whatever heat source that you have to boil the water, which will melt your candle wax. This is the method that I personally started with when I was making small batches of candles. Then eventually I bought myself a wax melter, which is way bigger and more convenient for big batches of wax. But as a beginner, I would definitely recommend that you stick to the double boiler method because it's easier, it saves you money, and doesn't really require you to buy many things. Once your wax is melted, the next step is gonna be for you to add in your fragrance or or candle dye. If you're just starting, I would recommend that you stay away from dyeing your candles because it could be very tricky to work with. But if you do want something colorful, use liquid candle dye. From my experience, this has been easier to work with just because it doesn't add much. Not only that, it takes very small amounts for you to get the color that you're looking for. If you're making scented candles, you're gonna add some fragrance in there. For that, you would have to follow the different recommendations based on the type of wax that you do have. But the range for the fragrance oil that you add into your candle wax is gonna be from 6% up to 12%. Keep in mind that the more fragrance you add doesn't necessarily mean that your candle will smell better. Just because when you add more things into your candle, this is an opportunity for your wig to be snuffed out by all the materials. So you have to be really careful about the fragrance oil and the things that you add into your candle, just so you can make sure that it burns properly for your customers or even for yourself. Make sure that when you add your fragrance into your candle wax, you're adding it at the correct temperature recommended by your fragrance oil company. And make sure you stir the fragrance into your candle wax very slowly and for as long as 2 minutes. This is gonna make sure that your fragrance oil and your candle wax combine properly without one specific part of the candle wax having all of the fragrance. And then of course, you're gonna pour your candle wax into your candle jar. The pouring temperature is going to vary for each and every single candle wax, so follow the temperature recommended by your company that you purchase the candle wax from. Overall, you're going to have to pour very slowly to prevent things like spill and air pockets. And when you're done pouring, you're gonna have to secure that wig for it to stay centered using a wig holder. You can find those on Amazon. Each and every single person have very, very different wig holders, from hairpins, clothespin, and I've even seen people use forks. Just make sure that your wig stays centered so your candle can burn properly once you go to light it. After you've poured your candle wax into the jar and secured the wig with the wig holder, you're gonna have to let your candle cool down completely. This can take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. I recommend you to leave your candle alone in a room that is warm and away from drafts so the candle will not be disturbed. And once that happens, trim your wigs down. You can use a wig trimmer, a pair of scissors, nail clippers, or anything that you can use to really be precise with the length of the wig, which should be around 1/4 of an inch. And then you're basically done. Next step will be to burn your candle. For some waxes, you may have to wait a period of 2 weeks for your candle wax and your candle fragrance to really mix well together so the smell can be even stronger when you light your candle. But other than that, add any warning labels to the bottom of the candle jar along with the candle label. But if you don't want to, you don't necessarily have to if you made the candle for yourself. If you made it for business purposes, you definitely have to include a warning label at the bottom of the candle jar, along with a candle label that has the name of the candle, the name of the company, and the net weight of the candle. There are more specific details that candle makers need to focus on, but that was a basic crash course on what you need to do when you're making a candle. And if you want any specific information on different topics that I touched on, I will link those videos for you below for you to tune into them and get more information on the type of waxes, what to look for in a fragrance oil, how to choose your candle jars, along with the type of candle wicks out there. If this video was helpful, make sure to like and let me know in the comments below if there are any specific topics that you would like me to focus on. And of course, subscribe for the next videos to come. Until next time, bye.